I did try. I did try to uh, read Freud. I just wasn't able to understand what he's talking about. None of this makes any sense. This is just an interpretation. I mean, to understand what's a sentence, to interpret a sentence is difficult enough. So interpretation of dreams is just you know very difficult, and Freud just simply interprets it the way he wants to. The psychology of dream activities. I don't know what dream activities are. This is what happens when you read the seventh chapter of the book, skipping past all other chapters. But you said seventh chapter, so here we are. Among the dreams which I have heard from others, there is one which at this point is especially worthy of our attention. It was told to me by a female patient who in turn heard it in a lecture on dreams. Its original source is unknown to me. This dream evidently made a deep impression upon the lady, as she went so far as to intimate it, to repeat the elements of the dream in a dream of her own, in order to express the by this transference, her agreement with it in a certain point. How do you know that? Okay, she dreamt the same dream. But you're saying that Freud is saying that she dreamt the same dream in order to express her agreement with it in a certain point. It might have been her disagreement, not her agreement. You can't say things that you could not possibly know. And this is going to repeat this problem is going to repeat itself. The essential facts of this illustrative dream are as follows. For days and nights, a father the illustrative facts of this dream. The essential facts of this illustrative dreams are as follows. For days and nights, a father had watched the sick bed of his child. After the child died, he retired to rest in an adjoining room, leaving the door ajar. However, so as to enable leaving the door ajar, so as to enable him to look from his room into the other, where the corpse lay surrounded by burning candles. The old man who was left as a ward sat near the corpse, murmuring prayers. After sleeping a few hours, the father dreamt that the child stood near his bed, clasping his arms and calling out reproachfully, "Father, don't you see that I am burning?" The father woke and noticed the red light coming from the adjoining room. Rushing in, he found the old man asleep, and the covers and one arm of the beloved body burning by the fallen candle. Missing the meaning of this affective dream. What's an affective dream? Affecting dream. What's an affecting dream? Is a symbol enough. What is the meaning? And the explanation given by the lecturer, as my patient reported it, was correct. So how do you know the meaning of the dream? The bright light coming through the open door into the eyes of the sleeper produced the same impression impression on him as if he had been awake, namely that the fire had been started near the corpse by a falling candle. It is quite possible that going to sleep, he feared that the aged guardian was not equal to the task. It's also possible that he didn't. We can find nothing to change in this interpretation. We can add only that the contents of the dream must be overdetermined, and that the talking child consisted of the phrases that it had uttered while still living, which recalled to the father important events. Phrases, perhaps the complaint, "I am burning," recalled the fever from which the child died. Perhaps the complaint, "I am burning," recalled the fever from which the child died. And the words quoted, "Father, don't you see?" recalled an emotional occurrence unknown to us. This is reminding me of the movie Signs, when his wife says, "Meryl, tell Meryl, swing away," and that bit of information pops up again in the final scene. Great movie, I think. Right, so the speech is something that was said in the past. It could be, and it could also not be that. We can add only that the content of the dream must be overdetermined, and the talking of the child consisted of phrases that it had uttered while still living, which recalled to the father important events. Perhaps the complaint, "I am burning," recalled the fever from which the child died, and the words quoted, "Father, don't you see?" recalled an emotional occurrence unknown to us. But after we have recognized the dream as a senseful occurrence which can be correlated with our psychic existence, it may be surprising that a dream should have taken place under circumstances which necessitated such immediate awakening. Yes, but after we have recognized the dream as a senseful occurrence which can be correlated with our psychic existence, right, or what he just said, it may be surprising that a dream should have taken place under circumstances which necessitated immediate awakening. We also notice that the dream does not lack the wish fulfillment. But this is another one of his theories, another one of his teachings. The child acts as if leaving. It wants the father itself. It comes to his bed and clasps his arms, as it probably did on the occasion which gave origin to the first part of the speech in the dream. The child acts as if living. It wants the father itself. It comes to his bed and clasps his arms, as it probably did on the occasion which gave origin to the first part of the speech in the dream, the part where the child says, "Father, don't you see? I'm burning," or something. The child acts as if if living. It wants the father itself. It comes to his bed and clasps his arms, as it probably did on the occasion which gave origin to the first part of the speech in the dream. It was for the sake of this wish fulfillment that the father slept a moment longer. How does Freud know that? This is philosophy. This is just not, scientific, which is, and science is the domain that Freud is interested in. He wants psychology to be a science. He wants psychoanalysis to be a science. He wants other people to think of psychoanalysis as scientific, as rational. The dream triumphed over the conscious reflection because it could show the child once more alive. I have no idea what Freud is talking about here. The child acts as if living okay. So how is any of this wish fulfillment? The child is alive, that's wish fulfillment. The child wants the father. How is that wish fulfillment? It comes to his bed and then clasps his arms, as it probably did on occasion that gave the origin to the first part of the speech. It was for the sake of wish fulfillment that the father. Oh, this is the wish fulfillment that the father slept a moment longer. Right. I mean, maybe, according to your theories, I suppose. He could have had that dream a little bit earlier and then woken up. A dream triumphed over the conscious reflection. How did the dream triumph over the conscious reflection? Because it could show the child once more alive. In terms of wish fulfillment, the dream triumphs, yeah. According to your theory, yes. If the father had awakened first and had then drawn the conclusion which led him into the adjoining room, he would have shortened the child's life by this one moment. If the father had awakened first and had then drawn the conclusion which led him into the adjoining room, he would have shortened the child's life by this one moment. He could have extended the child's life by continuing to sleep, I suppose. The peculiar feature in this brief dream which engages our interest is quite plain, so far as we have mainly endeavored to ascertain wherein the secret meaning of the dream consists, in what way this is to be discovered, and what means the dream work uses to conceal it. In other words, our greatest interest has hitherto centered on the problems of interpretation. We now encounter a dream, however, which can be easily explained, the sense of which is plainly presented, and we notice that in spite of this fact, the dream still preserves the essential features which plainly differentiate our dreaming from our conscious thinking, and thus clearly demands an explanation. After clearing up all the problems of interpretation, we can still feel how imperfect our psychology of the dream is. I have no idea what he's talking about, and I really don't. I don't think it's worthwhile to try to understand. Before entering, however, into this new territory, let us stop and reflect whether we have not missed something important on our way hither, for it must be frankly admitted that we have been traversing the easy and comfortable path of our journey. Hitherto, all the paths we have followed have led, if I mistake none, to light, to explication, and to full understanding. But from the moment that we wish to penetrate deeper into the psychic processes of the dream, or paths lead into darkness, it is quite impossible to explain the dream as a psychic process, for to explain means to trace to the known, and as yet we do not possess any psychological knowledge under which we can range what may be inferred from our psychological investigation of dreams as their fundamental explanation. On the contrary, we shall be compelled to build a series of new assumptions concerning the structure of the psychic apparatus and its active forces. On the contrary, we shall be compelled to build a series of new assumptions concerning the structure of the psychic apparatus and its active forces, and this we shall have to be careful not to carry beyond the simplest logical concatenation, as its value may otherwise merge into uncertainty. And even if we should make no mistake in our conclusions and take cognizance of all the logical impossibilities involved, we shall still be threatened with complete failure in our isolation through the probable incompleteness of our elemental data. It will also be impossible to gain, or at least to establish, an explanation for the construction and workings of the psychic instrument, even through a most careful investigation of the dream or any other single activity. On the contrary, it will be necessary for this end and to bring together whatever appears decisively as a constant after a comparative study of the whole series of psychic activities. Thus, the psychological conceptions which we shall gain from an analysis of the dream process will have to wait, as it were, at the junction point until they can be connected with the results of other investigations, which may have advanced to the nucleus of the same problem from another starting point.